assembly video soon. A little late for that one. Let's see. All right, so I like designing things where they don't really need a lot of supports when you're printing them on your 3D printer. And usually I also do parts where you don't need to do multicolor filament, which is awesome. There's no modification required to the AP, except you might notice that I'm missing my front sight. So there is that modification, but luckily that is, I believe, an M3 screw. So you just gotta have a torque wrench or a Allen key that can pop that off. All of the fasteners used in this project are M4 threaded inserts. You will need a soldering iron and 300 M4 screws. I will have links. I will have a better picture on screen. In addition, any magnet, any little kitchen magnet, a 300 millimeter metal rod that is 6 millimeters in diameter. Again, I will have everything I bought on the description, like an Amazon list or something. Springs, some paracord, all right here. A lot of the stuff is off screen. And then you will need a M5 screw to mount a charging bracket, because when this is inside of the plasma rifle, how are you going to do that? There are 3 variants. We have the standard, which is what I'll be building. The bottom tang of the plasma rifle folds out, so you can drop the magazine and put a new magazine and then close it up like a trap door. It works. It's effective. I run it. There's an extended mag version where it doesn't do that, and you just run an extended mag through the whole gun. And then there's a drum mag version. I will post what drum mag I used. That was for my customer. Now you might notice, do I need a 200 millimeter barrel? No, I don't know what I was doing. I think I was turning this into a carbine and I screwed up or something. So you don't need a 200 millimeter barrel, but if you want this thing to work, you'll need a Bifrost. Now, why is there blue tape on my Bifrost? Is because it was from another project and I haven't taken it off yet. But if you really want the plasma rifle to shine, blue setting on the Bifrost. I'll try to get a video of that. It'll be separate of the build video. That way people don't have to sit through all this long thing. All right, all of my heat sets are already in the plastic. I'm not going to do a tutorial. I figured it out in 2 seconds. You will too. Soldering iron, heat set, done. Yikes. Okay. Also, while I am going through this, for example, this part, what are these pieces called? I don't know off the top of my head, but I will have a subtitle somewhere saying what each of these parts are listed in the file set. If you like my work, buy my work, support me on Colts 3D under 3D BB Designs. All right, let's get started. Okay, so I'm just gonna go through the parts real quick. Hey, look at that pistol. Put that off to the side. This is the top shroud. It is currently, let's see, 11 pieces. We have 4 little gray pieces. These are called widow tabs. We have 4 widow tabs. And then we have big 3 parts. Everything I printed is on a bamboo printer. I printed it at a 0.12 resolution, so it looks really clean. I got it in blue and I got it in gray, a little bit of black. Camera shaking because I bumped it. Here's the big monstrosity we'll get to later. I actually haven't finished this yet, but this is kind of the main body. This is how the charging handle racks, which is really cool. So a spring is going to be added to here. 2 springs will be added to these trays, and a paracord is going to be tied onto these arms. Obviously I'm going to go a bit more into detail later, but these pop out and these open up, and they're heat vents, and then to put them back you have to kind of finesse them, and they should just snap back. And I'm hoping that that works. Ultimately, if it doesn't work, then it's just a cool looking plasma rifle. But if they do work, then it's a cool working plasma rifle. Emphasis on working. Alright, so this is the front top part where the barrel is. It's the tiny little hole. I think it's actually going to be a bit more down like that for the Bifrost. There has been revisions, so it's a little bit different than what I have here, but it's not bad. I think I added an extra fastener. This is the lower tang tail. Nothing too complicated. These are glued in. You don't have to glue them in. They actually friction in quite nice, depending on your tolerance. And then this is another part to the bottom. Here's the bottom. This opens up so that you can put a magazine in. You'll see it when it's all complete. Here's the bottom teeth. This one, and so this part where my index has been remade, and I will do a digital display version of that. And then this has been redone because I cannot get that off. I do not know what I did there in order to get that on. It has a dovetail mount, but I know that the front is not dovetailed. I don't know what I did there. And then I have all the other little bits, the really cool bits. You can hear it like Legos. This is kind of the main frame that'll fit around your AAP, and this took a little bit to do. And the AAP sits flush inside of that. Pretty cool. All right. So we have these two pieces. I messed up my heat sink right there. You can see that. So there's two heat sinks, two M4 heat sinks, and then two 3D printed parts, but we can actually make it 3 by putting in the front something. I forgot the name of that. And then these are 3 pieces. We have a Widow's tab right here holding the 2. You want to glue that in if you want. We have another Widow tab right here holding that in actually. So we're going to build the bottom first. This is the front part of the bottom. It's 2 pieces and 2 M4 heat sets. I kind of messed up that side, but that's okay. This is different than the current model, because when I put this gray piece into the blue piece, it don't want to come out. So I changed it where it's easier to disassemble. Does it need to be disassembled? No, but if you like doing that. This is 4 pieces. You can see the Widow's tab right there. Am I focused? There we go. You can see, oh, I don't like that. You can see the Widow's tab right there, and there's one in the front holding this together. And then these parts are the shields. There's 6 M4 heat sets that are going to be in there. Here's the big mama right here. So this is 3 parts. There's the magnet. We're going to get close. So I don't know what this is called. Obviously it's going to be on screen. It's kind of like a horseshoe kind of, but your heat sets are right there. On the last model, they line up like that. And this is the pivot. I can take it apart. You have a ball bearing in there, or just bearing, and then those, you have 4 M4 heat sets and screws right there holding this piece on, so that way when you print it, it's not obtrusive. Now that just goes in once you get everything fitted together, which I am putting my faith in y'all's making skills. Wow, there it is. All right, this model doesn't have it, but I believe so. Again, out of focus, I am so sorry. Right here was supposed to be some type of magnet or metal. This magnet is just a kitchen magnet glued in, and there's supposed to be another one here, but it kept tearing out. So I revised it and I put a little hole so that you can put a screw in it, and so when you shut it, the magnet is magnetizing the screw. That's about it for this part. And then this is the last piece. So this is the tail. You have your 2 blue parts, a widow's tab. It's a different widow's tab. Interesting. And then you have your 4 heat sets and your 4 M4 screws. And then these are separate pieces and they glue into a slot. I glued the bottom, the top's not glued. For obvious reasons, these things get in your face all the time when you're playing. I've whacked my eyeball, it sucks. So, there is supposed to be a heat set right here. It is ugly on the bottom, but who's looking at the bottom? So let's get building. Alright, there we go. Now we're just gonna put them together and screw them together. How enticing. We will fast forward. So I screwed those in. They're there. We're gonna screw these in too. I hope this video helps the 4 people who downloaded this. There is an AEG version. Probably should say something about that at the beginning of the video. There you go, there's the back end. And then those 2 just fit together like that. And then you screw that in, which I'll do later. Although later for me is now for you. And it opens up like that. So when you're holding the pistol, that opens up. It doesn't do that, but it opens up and you're able to load magazine into it. Now, if you have the extended mag version, this is open. There's a hole right here, and it just allows magazine to go in. If you have the alternative drum magazine version, I'll digitally display it. It's pretty much gone. It's not even there. I opened it up because it's like, oh, it's not even there. So there's the bottom. I know that was really easy for me. It's probably gonna be really hard for everybody else out there, but that's okay. Moving on to the next thing. Well, that's holding the bearing in place. It's these parts. Let's focus it. Alright, pistol time. How are we gonna get this and that? That's the real question. Alright, as you can see, we're gonna zoom in. So, I broke these up into 2 pieces so it's easier to print. They print like that. Wow, loud plastic noises. So they print flat and they just come up. This part does require supports where my index finger is and where my other index finger are. Is that proper grammar? I don't know. So, I'm dyslexic. This needs support. What's cool is this does not need support. That was loud, I'm sorry everybody. And they just snap together. Now, here's the big issue. Your tolerance on your printer, if you know what it is, it can't be more than 0.2 millimeters. So I'm designing for not the bamboo printers. You got to keep that in mind. I am designing for the other printers. So the fact that it just snaps together, you may need to file some of the parts, but it's designed for 0.2. So keep that in mind. That's why mine is so loose. All right, let's get it together. As you can see, those are all the heat sets. Any hole that's big enough for a heat set goes in. There's currently 7. Yeah, there's 7 right here. And then obviously 7 M4 screws on the other side. Ew, my bad. Actually, there's a secret 8th one. Oh man, I really have to pull my arms out. And on the other one, there is a 2nd. So how interesting. Alright, so what we're gonna do is, before we put it in, we have our little tabby piece with our M5. That's gonna go in. Nice and sturdy. I just realized something. You can't put it together without the lower. So we're gonna zoom out. Man, who designed this thing? Oh, me. We don't need this right now. Bad juju. Alright. If you look at the bottom piece, there are two. Can I get this up without focus? Alright, so there, where my index is, there's two dovetails. Those are important because they go like that inside of it. So I won't be looking at the camera for this one. We're gonna do one side first, which should be not the fastener side, it should be the other side. Why did I make this so complicated? Again, the AEG version is free. I do not have a build video for the AEG version because I am not done printing it. I've been doing other projects that are sadly not 3D printing. All right, now we have that sandwich. And then you're just gonna slide it onto those tabbies. I hear like a weird buzzy machine gun sound. Oh, you know what's even better? We don't even have the pistol. Let me just put this on. There we go. Now you put the pistol on. We're just gonna do the black piece first because Actually, yeah, duh. You don't put these together. You put the black part in. I just messed up everybody's assembly of this thing. It is so loud. I'm wearing headphones, so everything you guys can hear, I can hear. Alright, it's on. Oh no, that's so much. What do we do? I didn't show you this part. Zoom in. This is cool because this just clips on. So you're going to be losing this part a lot. Just goes on like that. And it kind of gives you more of a Sangheili feel to it. Oh yeah. Okay, cool. Now what now? Okay, we're gonna put the screws in. I'll get back to you in a second. I don't know where my marbles went. Ooh, actually, forgot about this part. So this part just goes into a hole right underneath, right there to cover up the barrel. I just realized the screws I'm missing. I printed these parts in orange previously and I threw it away. And I think I left the screws in it. Big L moment. So it's gonna look a little bit weird. Maybe not actually. No, I think it'll be fine actually. Ooh, I moved closer. Time lapse, question mark. Now you might notice I might not be using all of the holes that I put heat sinks in. That's because if you're using a engineering plastic or like an outdoor plastic, you might have some residual tension and compression in your plastics from the like pour lamination and whatnot, and so I added extra spots like right here and right here to basically counteract if your thing starts to warp. Shoot, it's so hard to see. This is important, that is important, this and that are important, and that one's important. So there's two right here, that you don't necessarily need. All right, we got these parts assembled. Whoa, you got yourself a weird looking thing. I don't know. Everything works. Nothing is snagged. What we're gonna do is not put the Bifrost on yet. Leave that off to the side. Onto the more complicated part. Oh no, what is this? It's crazy. It's so complicated looking. I'm gonna break it down into a few parts. I'm not gonna break it down all the way, but I will break it down where it's much easier to look at it. So we're gonna start with the bigger part, so I don't have to tear it down. So there is 1, 2, 3. There's 4 parts right here. I can count up to 4. And 1 metal rod. This gray piece, uh-oh, my battery's flashing. I'm gonna have to do this in 2 parts. It sucks. So this gray piece has a screw. Actually, you can look right there. It has a screw right there. It's a little black circle and a heat set, and it's clamping down onto the metal rod. On the back, there are 2 screws. They're doing the same exact thing, but you'll notice there is a plastic rod, it's a guide rod, and then the metal rod. And so this one is pushing onto the plastic and this one's pushing onto the metal, keeping it in place. Now, it gets a little sticky, but that's okay. You're not pulling it back that far. We have another heat set right here. It has 1 screw going through it, and that's it. These little tabbies just have a pin. Little plastic pin going through it. But we're going to be assembling this thing. So this is going to be a little complicated because you have to tie some knots. But we have these 2 that will go onto the side. I will actually just do that right now. Boop. And boop. You might notice they don't sink all the way down, and there's a gap. You can actually see it right where my thumb is. That's fine. That's norms. The cool looking ones, why are they called window tabs? Just like that. They won't sink all the way in. They'll be raised. This doesn't matter because it doesn't affect anything. You can glue them in. You don't necessarily need to. They're pretty much in there. Now for the next part, we will actually be adding some springs. Well, let's look at these real quick. Alright, so this is the thing that pops out of the side when the plasma rifle overheats. So there's 2 holes for heat sets. I was originally going to have these rods be metal, and then I realized, wait, I could just 3D print them. And so you might notice when you're looking at the file, you might be able to see it here. No, actually not. There's a flat side. So you can print these in an orientation that make them strong, right? You're not, let's say the table is our print bed. We're not printing it like this, we're printing it like that, right? So the it's all about that lamination layer. And so they're much stronger in this orientation for the 3D printing side of things. Now, I have a heat set right here. You don't need a heat set for this piece. Now, there are 2 types of rods. Let me just put this in here. Let's get this in focus. Obviously one is shorter and the other one has a cap. These are facing the front replica. So, and then these are the back like a crawfish or something. I don't know. No analogies. I'm good. There's 4 holes in the side, and you're just gonna push the, what the heck? Oh, the left is going to be the very back one, and then we're going to put the other one on, which will be the second slot. It actually goes on this side. The spring does. And then you just push it into the hole, tighten that bad baby up. And we're gonna test it. Hey, look at that. Woo. Oh yeah. I'm actually surprised that works, not gonna lie. This is my first time putting it together like this. Alright, the other rod goes in the first hole. Now you might be thinking, oh, you made a mistake. No, I did not. Maybe I could do some magic. Hey, look at that. How did I do that? Comment down below if you know how I did that. The other spring goes on. Let's test this other guy. It's actually not okay, hold on. My problem is I have some brim left over from printing, and it's causing it to not work on the right side. Awesome, it's on there. I put an extra spring, so it should be okay now. Now, here's the annoying part. You must have paracord. We're not using the whole paracord. We're actually going to use one of the strands on the inside. It can be any strand, preferably smaller, the better. And you're wondering what length this is. I have calipers, I'm measuring it right now, it's off screen. About 210 millimeters of paracord. And then we're going to tie it so that these arms are tied like that. So we're going to tie them like that. Alrighty, I'm back. So you might be noticing there's some new stuff. Yeah, that's right, it's complicated. Alright, so we have our 2 springs. These are 2 2 torsion springs. Torsion springs? No. Tension springs. These are our 2 tension springs. This one has been stretched. All you do is you just put it in between, 2 rods and you go, and then you stretch it. And so what I did, what they are is they're return springs for those arms. I've added an extra spring here, an extra compression spring, and then I added an extra one over here. I think you already saw that. Now, I also added this string. So it peels back. I'm not going to actually do that because it's not all put together yet. And it should just snap if done right. And that's holding it back. And then when you go to charge your gun, they just pop out. But how do you reset it? Well, resetting is a little complicated, but it should work. What the heck? Yeah, why did I do this? Oh well, it is what it is. Plasma, you don't necessarily need it to work for the plasma rifle to look cool. Obviously do a better job knotting than I did. But that's basically how it is. I'm going to put this on the other piece and then we're going to get it all built out. Okay, I redid it. There's a little granny knot going on. Now we're going to put it on. Good thing this doesn't fall apart. Holy cow. All right, so I'm going to attempt that now. Oh, and this M4 heat set and this screw where my left index is should meet. Just like that. Then we're gonna screw it down. And that's the biggest piece right there. Half assembled. We're gonna keep going here. Ching. Uh-oh. I hit the camera. Get that sucker in there. Get it in there. Go, go, go. Okay, severe oversight. But it's okay. Now, we got it into the channel. And as you can see, when you go to So when you go to charge your pistol, it'll pop these open like you just overheat the plasma pistol. So when you need to swap mags, you go and then or whatever. Actually, that's okay. Having this much slack is actually okay. Let me show you. When the plasma pistol, that arm's gonna be snagging that rope. What about that? Hey! Let's go over this real quick. So this piece, I believe, is now screwed on. Currently it is glued, but the new one is screwed on using an M4 heat set and an M4 screw. Hey, guess what? Wow. This Widow's tab is glued on. You should be gluing that one. What glue do you use? A 2-part epoxy or something like that. Same thing here. Obviously you see that's super chewed up. I have fixed it since then. The files will not look like this, but also that doesn't really matter too much because it's hidden. When you put it on, it's gone. Nowhere to be seen. This is 3 pieces. You have the left side, the right side, and then there is a tabby that goes inside of here that acts as it's keyed. In the manufacturing world, we call it keyed. And it's to align these parts together. So when you glue them, they're not offset. Now, I do see that it is a little bit offset, but that is because I do not like waiting. And then that just slots in. Hey, that was loud. And the Widow's tab, it just drops on down. It is held in place by the Bifrost and the top portion. So let me get the top portion on. Actually, let's go. Well, I think I already showed this. It's pretty easy to figure out too. So that just drops down on top. And you might notice there's a hole back here. It aligns with this hole right here, which needs a heat set. So I'll be doing that later in this video as well. And there should be a heat set up here as well. Currently with my model, it screws onto the back and wedges onto the front, which is okay. But I changed it since then, and there's 2 screw points. So this thing, I don't have it because I don't need it. It frictions on pretty well. But this rod will have springs on it so it returns to its original position. I would suggest doing that. I don't need it. The way mine lines up is it kind of frictions on. Stays there. Alright, so it's actually in camera. There's a slot right here on the side, on both sides. We have to take apart this. So it's kind of like a spring-loaded bomb, and we don't really want to explode. So we're gonna undo this screw. That lifts up. That's kind of nice on my part. It doesn't necessarily... We're gonna put this on. This. I wonder if I'm zoomed in. No, I want to be zoomed out. Alright, so we're gonna slip this on. If you kind of see what oh, actually we need to lock this back. Whoa, how did I do that? Put it down in the comments. Kidding. Kind of snaps on. You gotta put a little force into it. And then once you get it snapped on, you'll just see it click in like that. And we have 2 screws in the back right here. Alright, I figured I'd record this part. So we're installing the 2 screws in the back that will hold this entire thing together. We're gonna test. Alright, it's on there. Now we're gonna put this on here. Get that ASMR action. Alright, it's on there. Now we get to put this on here. I'll try not to breathe. My face is right in front of the microphone. Oh! This is the cool part that I'm just going to show you. I have half battery life. This is my second go on the battery. So we're going to get this in here. Get it all lined up with the cable. We're going to drop the bolt. Put it behind the bolt. I know it's white on white, but I mean you can kind of see the gray. I'll use a pointer right here. We're putting it behind the truck. Now it's gonna be a little tight, but that, oh, you know what? I can use the camera as a viewer. Did I get it? Oh, it's almost there. Come on, there we go. Wow. Obviously make the appropriate modifications. Uh-oh. Hopefully that'll free up some room so we can get around. Well, actually, if you don't have an inner barrel on your gun, that could just drop in easy peasy. But obviously, I put a 200mm inner barrel. There we go. Is that right? Oh no, it goes down a bit farther. Get out of my brain, dude. That wants to be right there. So I'm going to do a no-no. Oh, thank you for not breaking. All right, now you get to screw. Wrong one. Now you get to screw on your Bifrost on the top, and then we just slide that up into, oh, bumped it again. We're gonna slide that up into place. Okay, it's in. A little bit of the crap is showing, but you know what? Nobody knows except for you and me. Now we slap the top on. Don't actually slap it. Maybe I can slap it. Actually, I do need to slap it. Top's on, you go beep beep, and you screw those in. And for the last little 2 pieces, well, technically for me it's 3 because I haven't put on the screws. We got our fins, our back fins. I'm gonna slide this thing forward. Now there's a pretty, there's a pretty side and an ugly side. I think the ugly side is up. Why would I do such a thing? Oversight. Hey, look at that. And you know what? I only use those to take pictures. And they're in. They're not just sitting there. You can flip this thing over and they won't fall out. But that's how you assemble the AAP-01 plasma rifle. I need to charge this thing. We're gonna see if the charging handle works. I'll get it lined up with the camera. Ooh, that fell off. So we're looking right here. We're gonna see if this pops out. Okay, they don't pop out. I'll figure that out. I think I have too much slack on the rope. So if I were to get rid of some slack, which I will for the shoot video, when I'm shooting in the next video, you will see that when you charge, they pop out. Cool. All right. Before we leave onto the, well, actually, right here. So how this works is you go pew, 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 and then you open it up because it's magnetically locked, and it does work. You would think that this is a lot of weight for a magnet to be holding, but man, these kitchen magnets, they're crazy. So you pop it open, magazine comes out, new magazine goes in, you close it, it's locked up. If you have the extended mag version, there's gonna be a hole through the whole thing right here, so you just drop the mag, pull it in, done. The drum mag version will look something like this. There'll be a giant drum mag, and then some decorations on the drum mag that make it look like this piece. How do you drop the magazines? Well, I'll tell you how to drop the magazines. There's a button right here that's exposed. So, pretty sturdy. Kind of proud of this thing. Took me a little bit to do. Wow, I had to do some new techniques in CAD in order to get this thing working. A little rough around the edges for mine, at least. When I first assembled it, it wasn't this rough. But I have a giant gap right here. So I think it's because I assembled it wrong in terms of this whole area. But it should look clean when you're done. So I like it. It looks good. And you might be thinking, that would make a really good AEG. Well, I do have an AEG version. It's free. It has a version 2 with a normal version 2 hop up, and the BBs run through here, and there's a high cap right here, and the entire lower tang is a reservoir. So, thank you. All right.